Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a source stack that honestly seems almost too simple at first glance.
Right. It's the short story, The First Week at Work, designed for English learners, focusing on, well, 5 really basic workplace phrases.
Exactly. Things like, good morning, can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff you think, okay, pretty foundational. But what we want to do today is a real deep dive because we think these simple interactions, they're actually crucial battlegrounds for professional strategy, how you make that first impression.
That's absolutely it. So for you listening, our goal today isn't just about memorizing Anna's, vocabulary list.
Well,
It's about pulling out the strategy hidden in those lines. How does Anna, who starts off nervous but also excited, actually use these conversational tools?
how does she project confidence, build rapport, get included?
Yeah, exactly. And make that really strong first impression. It's like a blueprint for effective demeanor in those first critical days.
Okay, so let's unpack it. It starts right at the beginning. Monday morning, Anna arrives. That mix of nerves and excitement you mentioned. And she leads with the first phrase, sets the tone.
Good morning.
Simple as that.
But what's really interesting, I think, isn't just her saying it, it's the response she gets immediately. Her new coworker, James.
Right, he doesn't just echo it back.
No, he adds something crucial. He says, "Good morning, Anna. Welcome to the team."
Ah, okay, that welcome to the team part.
Yeah,
That feels significant, more than just hello.
it absolutely is. It's the difference between just acknowledging someone's presence and actively including them psychologically.
Yeah, like checking a box versus opening a door.
Precisely. And our source material seems to highlight this because, especially in English-speaking workplaces, that intentional welcome does heavy lifting. It establishes belonging right away.
It's a social signal, isn't it? We see you, we expected you, you're one of us now.
Exactly. It transforms that moment. It's not just politeness. It affirms her role as a colleague, part of the group. It sets a positive foundation.
And I guess if James hadn't added that, if it was just good morning back.
Well, yeah, that could feel a bit colder, couldn't it? More isolating, perhaps. Anna might be left wondering, okay, where do I stand?
So a bit of the onus is on the existing team member there to offer that explicit welcome.
I think often, yes. It confirms the environment is receptive. James saying that basically validates her entry right from the start. And that positive vibe is really the setup for what comes next.
Which is, the practical stuff. Anna finds her desk, but needs help getting oriented. Office logistics. And this brings us to phrase 2. She needs assistance, and she asks.
Can you help me, please?
And the source emphasizes the please.
Yes, and this is where, again, what seems like basic manners is actually pretty strategic. That word please.
Why is it so strategic here? We all know to say please.
Well, think about it from James's perspective. You're busy, someone new interrupts. If they just demand, help me, or where's the thing, your first reaction might be slight annoyance, right? You have to overcome that initial resistance.
Okay, yeah. Cognitive friction, you called it.
Exactly, but framing it as, can you help me, please? That politeness, it acts like a social lubricant. It signals respect for his time, his focus.
So it bypasses that potential friction point.
Right. It makes the decision to help almost automatic and positive. It flips the interaction from a demand to a respectful request.
Which totally explains James's response. He's immediately positive. Of course. What do you need?
Precisely. It's a direct return on her sort of investment in politeness. If she'd been blunt, maybe he'd still help, but the willingness, the positive tone might not have been there.
And that willingness is huge for building rapport in the long run.
Absolutely critical. So that polite foundation is set. She gets his willing attention, and then she asks her specific question.
Phrase 3, the classic newbie question. Where is the meeting room? Straightforward, essential info.
And James's response is also quite effective. It's over there, next to the kitchen.
Okay, seems like just directions. What's strategic about that?
It's about how the information is anchored. Think about being new. You're overloaded with names, processes, layouts.
Right, total information flood.
So giving directions relative to a really obvious fixed landmark, the system, the kitchen, the main entrance, whatever makes it much easier to process and remember.
Instead of third door past the accounting section on the left.
Exactly. Which means nothing to you on day one, next to the kitchen that's immediately usable. It sticks. And for Anna, getting a clear, simple answer reinforces that asking questions works. It builds her confidence in navigating this new space.
So she's successfully navigated the initial greeting, the first request for help, and getting basic directions. Good start.
Solid groundwork laid.
Hmm.
But then comes a slightly higher stakes interaction later in the day.
Meeting the manager. Okay, yeah. Different level of interaction. This isn't just a peer. This is about making a formal, good impression.
And she uses a smart two-part approach here. It's phrase 4 and phrase 5 combined.
Which are?
First, the standard professional courtesy. Nice to meet you. Can't skip that.
Standard operating procedure.
But then she immediately adds phrase 5. I'm happy to be here.
Okay. Nice to meet you, I get. That's expected. Why the I'm happy to be here? Isn't that a bit much? Could it sound kind of forced?
That's a really good point. Delivery matters, of course, but the combination is the strategy. Nice to meet you handles the formal requirement. It shows respect for the person and the role. Basic politeness.
Okay.
But I'm happy to be here adds another layer. It signals something beyond just politeness. It signals commitment, enthusiasm, positivity towards the actual job and the opportunity.
So it's like saying, I respect you, and I'm genuinely excited about this role and contributing.
Precisely. The manager isn't just assessing if you're polite. They want to see if you have the right attitude, if you're engaged. Pairing those two phrases delivers both messages concisely. Respect and enthusiasm.
It paints a fuller picture quickly.
Exactly. It covers the professional courtesy and signals that proactive, positive mindset managers look for.
And the manager's response in the story reflects that, right? We're happy to have you, Anna. It mirrors her enthusiasm.
It does. It completes that positive feedback loop we saw with James earlier, but now at the management level. She put out the right signals, respect, commitment, and got immediate validation back.
Which must feel great on day one. Mission accomplished for that interaction.
Absolutely. That's pretty much the goal for the first week, right? Use the language to establish that mutual respect and show you're ready to go.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. End of the day, Anna looks back. She used her English, met people, learned things, and has this thought. Maybe working in English isn't so hard after all.
And that feeling, that sense of ease, is really the core takeaway for you listening. Why did she feel that way? The source material gives us the answer directly.
What does it say?
It says, being polite and confident at work helps you speak better English every day.
Polite and confident.
But here's the crucial connection we need to make. These phrases aren't just about being polite in the abstract. They are the tools that actually enable the confidence.
Ah, okay. That's the real so what insight here, isn't it? It's not just learn the phrase. It's understand how the phrase helps you feel and act confident.
Exactly. Think about the cognitive load on your first day. New place, new people, new systems.
It's overwhelming.
Totally. Now, if on top of all that, you also have to struggle in the moment to figure out the right words for basic social interactions, how to greet someone properly, ask for help without sounding rude, introduce yourself formally.
You'd freeze up. Or just avoid interacting.
Right. Your brain just gets overloaded. But this source gives Anna and you a predictable, reliable structure for those key moments. Greeting, requesting, locating, introducing, committing.
Because she knows, can you help me, please, is the right way to ask. She doesn't hesitate. She doesn't stumble over the wording.
Exactly. That linguistic uncertainty is removed. The structure handles the social complexity for her. It frees up her mental energy to focus on the content of the interaction or the actual task at hand.
The confidence comes partly from knowing you're navigating the social basics correctly. It's like a confidence hack built into a language lesson.
That's a great way to put it. So for you listening, think about internalizing these 5 interactions. They cover a huge percentage of those initial contact points.
They give you a safe way to enter almost any common workplace conversation, knowing you're starting off on the right foot, signaling respect and professionalism.
Consider them your communication starter pack, maybe, your safety net. When you know these structures are solid, you can relax a bit and focus on the substance of what you need to say or do.
Okay, so summing up the strategy behind Anna's seemingly simple first week. That inclusive greeting, welcome to the team, sets the stage.
The polite request with please, huge ROI on getting willing help.
The clear, landmark-based, location query, efficient information transfer.
And that powerful introduction combo, nice to meet you, plus I'm happy to be here, covers respect and enthusiasm.
These are the building blocks. They take you from just, getting by with the language to actually performing effectively, strategically in that new environment.
Well said. It's about moving beyond just vocabulary.
So building on Anna's realization that maybe it wasn't as daunting as she thought, we're going to leave you with a final question to think about.
Okay.
We've looked at these 5 pretty foundational interactions. The greeting, the polite request, asking for location, the formal intro, expressing commitment. Which one of these seemingly small things, when done consistently and confidently, do you think actually has the biggest long-term impact on how your colleagues, and maybe even your manager, perceive your overall professionalism?
That's interesting. Is it the first impression of the greeting, the consistency of politeness, the proactive enthusiasm?
Maybe think about it this week. Observe those small interactions around you. It's often those little moments, repeated day after day, that consistent politeness, that quiet confidence, that occasional expression of being happy to be part of the team that really shape the positive professional reputation you build for yourself. Those tiny moments might just make the biggest difference in the long run. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Okay, so today we're doing something maybe a little unexpected, our source material. It's not some dense academic paper, It's actually an English language lesson called The Library Visit.
Yeah, sounds simple, right? But don't let that fool you. We think this little story is actually a really neat blueprint, like for super efficient, low-friction communication, how things should ideally work.
Exactly. So our mission today is to take this simple exchange. It's between a new library visitor, Tom, and a librarian, and really break it down. We're looking for the underlying structure, the communication hacks, if you will, the stuff that makes interactions smooth, even when there's a bit of process involved.
Right. We want to extract the operational strategy hidden in plain sight. The scenario starts with Tom, first time in the library, looking, and the text says, a little confused. That's the classic problem, isn't it? The new user facing an unfamiliar system.
And the original lesson, its stated goal was teaching students how to ask for information politely, which is fine, but we see a lot more going on than just manners.
Oh, absolutely. Politeness is sort of the oil in the machine, but the machine itself, the process, that's what we're digging into.
Okay, so let's jump straight to that first interaction, the very beginning.
Yeah, this is textbook proactive service. The librarian sees Tom looking lost. She doesn't wait. She steps right up, smiles, and hits him with, "Hello, can I help you?"
And that's huge, isn't it? The service provider initiates. She solves Tom's immediate confusion. Who do I even talk to? Before he has to figure it out. It lowers his cognitive load right away. He doesn't have to strategize his opening line.
Exactly. It's a critical first move, especially when you're onboarding someone, bringing them into a new system. Think about it in business. You want to minimize that time it takes for a user to get started, to take that first action. The librarian signals, I'm here, I know what I'm doing, let me help. It turns potential anxiety into, well, a guided process.
Right, it flips the whole dynamic instantly.
Yeah.
But Tom's response is also incredibly efficient. It's not rambling.
No, not at all. He nails it. He gives her two key pieces of information. Boom, boom.
Let's hear it again. What does he say?
He says, I want to borrow a book. That's the goal, right? But I don't have a library card. That's the obstacle.
Goal plus obstacle. It's just perfect, simple, direct. He tells the librarian what he wants and why he can't get it right now. Gives her everything she needs to jump straight to the solution. No need for 20 questions.
Totally. Think about how often that goes wrong in real life. People might just say, I don't have a card. And the librarian has to ask, okay, what did you need today? Or they might be vague, like, I need help with books. And again, you have to probe. Tom's structure just cuts through all that. It's a shortcut.
Okay, but let me push back a tiny bit here. Does this simple goal plus obstacle thing always work? Like, what if it's a really complicated situation? Say Tom was applying for some complex financial aid, not just a library card.
Yeah.
Would it still be the best way? Or does the detail just overwhelm that structure?
That's a fair question. I think the structure still holds, definitely, even in complexity. You might need to layer it a bit more, You'd still state your ultimate goal, I need to secure this funding, and then the primary obstacle and the issue is proving X eligibility requirement. You might add a preface like, okay, this is a bit complex, but my main goal is. The core idea remains. Clearly state where you are, the obstacle, and where you want to get to, the goal. It defines the gap that needs bridging.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. It's the framework, even if the content inside gets, well, denser. So the librarian gets this crystal clear request, which leads us right into the next phase.
Yeah.
Solving the problem, the operational bit.
And her immediate response is just brilliant for reducing stress. No problem, you can get one today. That phrase, no problem, it's like instant reassurance. It tells Tom, this isn't a big deal, we can handle this. It just dissolves any fear of being told no or facing a complicated hassle.
Yet, no problem is such a powerful little phrase in service, isn't it? It sort of preemptively smooths things over. But okay, they can't just hand out cards like candy. There had to be some accountability, right? What's the actual process?
Right. And she transitions smoothly. She says, please fill out this form. And importantly, she physically hands him the tools. A small form, a pen. Makes it tangible, less abstract. And the form asks for what? Name, address, and phone number.
Let's pause there. Those specific data points. In system design, that's always a balancing act, isn't it? What's the minimum information you actually need? Why those three? Name, address, phone number.
It's a great example of that balance. Ease versus accountability. Name, obviously, for identification. Address, usually to prove residency, maybe for mailing things. And phone number. That's the quick contact method if there's an issue like the book, the asset is overdue. It's basically the minimum viable data to track the borrowed item without making the sign-up feel like an interrogation.
Totally. It maps directly to modern digital stuff like signing up for an app. You want the absolute fewest fields possible to get the user activated. They're not asking for his life story here, just the essentials. And that minimal ask is probably why Tom later says.
Exactly. He finishes the form, hands it back, the librarian processes it quickly, and we get that immediate gratification.
Right. Tom gets the card.
Yeah.
And his reaction, that's the money quote for any system designer, he says, wow, that was easy. If your user feels it was easy, quick, painless, you've pretty much nailed it. You've designed a low-friction experience.
Yeah, the goodwill is established. He's happy. He's got his card. But the interaction isn't quite over. A successful system isn't just about the entry point. It's also about setting expectations. And this is where the librarian cleverly introduces the rules of the game.
Yes. The timing here is really interesting, isn't it? She gives him the card first, the reward. Then, after he's feeling good, she tells him the key operating rule. You can borrow books and return them in 2 weeks.
It's super strategic. Give the reward, reinforce the positive outcome. You're now a member. Success. And then, while he's in that positive, receptive state, deliver the necessary information, the deadline. It avoids making the user feel burdened by rules before they even get the benefit. It's not, okay, here are all the things you can't do. It's, here's your card. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, return books in 2 weeks.
So the card is the carrot, definitely. And the rule gets delivered while he's still munching on it, basically. Smart sequencing. And the immediate result. Tom uses his new card straight away. He borrows a book, something about travel, the text says. Mission accomplished.
Okay, so we've dissected the process, the flow, but let's circle back quickly to what the original lesson was explicitly teaching. Politeness. We said it's the oil in the machine. How does that play out here? It's efficient, sure, but does it feel good?
Right, the human touch. The lesson highlights Tom saying, thank you for your help, that formal acknowledgement. He recognizes someone helped him.
And the librarian's reply is equally important for closing the loop. You're very welcome. Enjoy your reading. These aren't just empty phrases, are they? They take what could be a purely transactional, mechanical thing, fill form, get card, and turn it into a genuinely positive human interaction that builds connection.
And connection leads to loyalty, right? The ultimate emotional takeaway. The source actually notes Tom leaves with a big smile, and he's thinking, I love this place. That's the jackpot for any service provider, any organization.
Absolutely. That feeling, I love this place. That's the direct result of everything working together. The clear process, the efficiency, the proactive help, and the warmth, the politeness. They didn't just get a new user, they created an advocate, someone with genuine positive feelings. The system was so smooth, so pleasant, he actually loved the experience of signing up for a library card.
So when we boil this whole deep dive down, what's the takeaway for you listening? Whether you're, I don't know, designing a workflow for your team or crafting a sales pitch or even just figuring out how to ask your boss for something. There seems to be a clear playbook here.
I think so, yeah. It really comes down to a few things. Clear, structured communication. Lead with your goal, then state your obstacle. That's number one. Then, if you're the one providing help, jump on diffusing anxiety, that no problem approach. Be proactive, and critically think about the sequence. Deliver the reward, the positive outcome, before you lay out the rules or requirements.
That seems to be the blueprint for making interactions feel easy, frictionless, all extracted from a very simple story about going to the library.
Okay, so here's the final thought we want to leave you with, a little provocation. Remember, Tom walked in confused. He walks out with a card, a book about travel, and a 2-week deadline. That initial easy interaction wasn't just an endpoint, it was a starting point.
Right. The simple act of getting the card activated 2 journeys, didn't it? An intellectual one with the travel book and a procedural one, that commitment to return it in 2 weeks.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder, doesn't it? That smooth, low-friction first step. It enabled him to start something potentially bigger. The travel book might inspire him. The deadline teaches responsibility within the system. What complex, longer journeys for your customers, your employees, even yourself are being enabled or maybe disabled by how simple or how complicated that very first interaction is.
If that first visit had been a nightmare, he might have just walked out, right? Never borrowed the book, never started that journey. So how easy are your starting points? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we are tearing apart some source material. And we're looking at something that seems, well, simple on the surface. It's a short clip from an English learning tool, an episode called The New Hobby.
Right. It's from an Easy English podcast, so designed to be very accessible. But our mission today really is to look under the hood. We want to analyze let's call it the engineering behind it.
Exactly. How is this little story, these few practice phrases, actually built to deliver knowledge fast? How does it make it stick, especially for someone who picks things up quickly?
It's all about the structure. If you look at the source, you've got the host intro, then this very slow, clear English story, then the practice phrases, and finally a conclusion. We're going to unpack the story, sure, but also the lessons hidden in that structure itself.
Okay, so let's start with the story bit. The main character is Layla, and the core idea is she wants to try something new.
Which is immediately relatable, right? That desire for novelty.
Totally. And she picks painting. That's the new hobby. It sets the stage really quickly. So let's get into the setup. They talk about what she actually buys, the specifics.
Yeah, the concrete details. That's key for language learning.
She gets brushes, paint, and a small canvas. Why list those things specifically?
Well, it gives you instant, tangible vocabulary. Brushes, paint, canvas, you can picture them.
Yes.
It anchors the language to real objects instead of just floating ideas.
Makes sense. But then they throw in a little curveball.
Uh-huh. The bit where she doesn't know what to paint at first.
Right. Why put that confusion in?
Oh, that's absolutely deliberate. It's relatable. It makes Layla human. Anyone starting something new feels that hesitation, that what do I do now moment. It lowers the intimidation factor for the learner.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about painting, it's about the feeling of starting.
Exactly. And it sets up the solution nicely.
Yeah.
Her inspiration isn't some grand artistic vision.
No, she just looks out the window.
Yeah, she sees flowers outside her window. Simple. Accessible. It subtly teaches the learner, hey, look around you. Use your immediate environment for practice.
And when she does start painting, they get specific again, mentioning the colors she mixes.
Red, yellow, and blue, the primary colors.
Okay, I have to ask, though. Mentioning red, yellow, and blue, doesn't that feel a bit, basic? Almost like talking down to the learner.
I see why you'd think that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's patronizing. It's actually really smart micro-curriculum design.
How so?
Think about it. Abstract grammar, abstract ideas. They're hard to grasp. But concrete things, especially high-contrast visuals like primary colors, they stick. When you hear red, yellow, and blue, you probably visualize them mixing.
Okay, yeah, I do.
Right. It creates this multisensory input, visual, auditory. It helps anchor the associated language, the verbs like mix, the nouns. It's actually a memory technique, using vivid details to make things memorable. Here it's just used for basic vocabulary.
So it's an efficiency thing. Got it. Okay, that reframes it. So she's painting, mixing colors, then the focus shifts, right?
Yep, shifts to the results, both internal and external. Internally, the story says Layla feels calm and happy.
That link between the action, painting, and the emotion, happy, is immediate.
Super important for reinforcement. It sets up this positive emotional feedback loop. Do the hobby, feel good. And that feeling is then validated externally.
Because the painting itself looks beautiful.
Exactly. Action leads to good feeling, which leads to a tangible positive outcome. It completes the loop.
And then she shares it, takes a picture, sends it to her friend.
Which brings in the social element. This is crucial too.
The friend's reaction is pretty enthusiastic.
Oh yeah. Wow. You're amazing. That phrase is gold for a learner. It's natural, colloquial praise. It's exactly the kind of thing you want to be able to understand and maybe even use.
And Layla's response is interesting too. She doesn't just say thank you.
No, she laughs and says, it's my first try, which is, again, a really useful social script.
No, so it teaches you how to react to praise humbly, maybe a bit self-deprecatingly. It's not just vocabulary. It's a whole conversational exchange modeled for you. How to give praise, how to receive it gracefully. It's practical social usage.
Okay, so we've got the setup, the action, the feeling, the sharing. It packs a lot into a short narrative.
Definitely.
Now, after the story, the source material moves into the practice section. They explicitly pull out key phrases.
Yes, and notice the pacing here. It's slow, deliberate with pauses. It shifts gear from immersion in the story to focused linguistic drilling almost.
Like a little toolkit built from Layla's experience.
Precisely. It isolates 4 specific phrases and implicitly teaches a grammatical or functional point with each one. It caters to that need learners have for clear, broken down bits of knowledge.
Okay, let's break it down. Phrase 1, I like trying new things.
What's this teaching? It connects a preference, I like, with an activity using the gerund, the end-in form, trying. Super useful structure for talking about interests, hobbies, decisions. And it links right back to Layla's motivation. Simple, but effective. Okay, phrase 2, I'm painting a picture.
This one's all about the present continuous tense. Action in progress. What are you doing right now? I'm painting, I'm reading, I'm talking. It's probably the most common tense you use to describe immediate actions. Very practical.
Got it. Phrase 3, the flowers are beautiful.
Pure and simple adjective use. Description. Making your communication richer, more interesting. And it connects back to that visual detail, the flower she saw, the beautiful result. Adds that sensory layer.
Right. And the last one, phrase 4, feels like a step up in complexity. I feel happy when I paint.
Oh, absolutely. This is a big one. It models a more complex sentence. You've got a main clause about a feeling I feel happy, linked to a subordinate clause expressing a condition or time when I paint.
So it's teaching cause and effect, or at least correlation.
Pretty much. Or habit. It moves beyond describing a single event, I am painting, to describing a general pattern or recurring feeling linked to an action. I feel X when I do Y. Think about how useful that structure is.
Yeah, I feel tired when I study late. I feel relaxed when I listen to music.
Exactly. It's a fundamental structure for expressing more nuanced thoughts and routines. Even native speakers can sometimes stumble on these conditional clauses. So giving learners a simple, clear template like, I feel happy when I paint, is incredibly powerful. It's a building block for more complex expression.
And the original host in the clip ties it all together, saying the lesson taught how to talk about hobbies and feelings. It delivers exactly that.
Perfectly. It stated the objective, used the narrative to illustrate, and then reinforced with specific grammatical models.
And then there's that final nudge.
The call to action. What's your hobby? Try talking about it in English today. That's vital. It doesn't just leave you with the information. It pushes you to apply it immediately. Use it or lose it, basically.
So let's wrap this up. This deep dive shows that Layla's simple story, getting the brushes, paint, canvas, finding joy, sharing the result, it's actually not that simple in its construction.
Not at all. It's a really efficient, cleverly engineered learning package. It uses narrative, emotion, specific details, and clear grammatical models to take a learner through several key language points very quickly.
So the main takeaway, the so what, is about how effective learning materials work.
I think so. It shows that using specific, relatable, often sensory details like the red, yellow, blue, the feeling of calm, makes abstract things like grammar rules stick much better. Short, engaging stories are powerful teaching tools. It's efficient design.
It really makes you appreciate the structure behind even seemingly basic content, which leads to a final thought for you listening.
Yeah.
If this tiny, easy English clip holds this much structural depth designed for learning and retention, what might you find if you took a closer look at something else you've maybe dismissed as too simple?
That's a great point. Maybe analyze the structure of your own go-to learning materials, see why they work for you.
Definitely something to think about. Until next time. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are looking at a case study that seems pretty simple on the surface, but actually really hits right at the core of modern life.
Yeah, it's about that quest for the perfect weekend, isn't it? Like maximally productive, zero downtime.
Exactly. We've all been there, I think. Making that huge list of everything we're going to smash through before Monday morning rolls around.
And our source material today is this short narrative called The Busy Weekend. It's about a character, Jack, who basically tries to cram way too much into 48 hours.
Right. Physical work, social stuff, bit of leisure.
All jammed together. It's a classic setup for, well, not succeeding.
So our mission today isn't just to say, oh, Jack failed. It's more about taking his timeline, like step by step, and figuring out exactly where things went wrong.
Where did it tip over from ambitious into, guaranteed burnout?
Yeah. We want to understand those pitfalls of the long list mentality. And maybe look at the hidden costs, the friction of just being busy.
It's kind of a blueprint, maybe, for understanding why we sometimes fail when we forget about our energy levels, not just our time.
Okay, so the conflict kicks off right at the planning stage you mentioned. Jack creates this long list of things he wants to do.
Yeah, and the source calls it that specifically, a long list. And the danger isn't necessarily the tasks themselves. It's more about treating them all as like equal blocks of time you can just shuffle around.
Okay, let's unpack that list. What exactly was on Jack's weekend agenda?
Well, he wanted to clean his house. That's a pretty big physical job.
Okay, chore one.
Then, visit friends. That's your social energy output.
Right, requires effort.
And finally, watch a movie, which is supposed to be the relaxation part, the winding down.
So on paper, it looks sort of balanced, doesn't it? You've got work, social life, rest.
It looks balanced, but it's a bit of an illusion because Jack's basically trying to squeeze maybe 3 days worth of energy demands into just 2.
3 days into 2? How do you figure that?
Well, think about the different types of energy. Physical stamina for cleaning, social energy, maybe even some emotional labor for the friends part, and then cognitive focus for the movie, even if it's leisure.
Ah, okay.
And he's mixing them in a really draining way. Cleaning isn't just physical. There's planning, deciding what to tackle first. That's mental effort too, cognitive load.
But hang on, isn't cleaning like inherently productive? Doesn't getting something concrete done give you a boost? Offset the drain a bit?
That's a fair point and a common thought. But it kind of ignores what psychologists sometimes call activation energy.
Activation energy.
Yeah, the mental push you need just to start something, especially a task like cleaning that involves effort and decisions. Jack uses up a chunk of his mental energy just getting going.
Okay.
So yes, there's satisfaction at the end, maybe. But the energy cost is paid up front. And if you have a long list, every single item needs its own activation energy burst.
Draining the tank before the day's really even started?
Exactly. Which sets things up perfectly for how Saturday actually begins.
Right. Phase 2, Saturday's relentless start. He's clearly motivated. The source says he wakes up early, gets straight into cleaning. We even get the phrase, "I cleaned my house."
Goal number 1, tackled. Physical labor, check.
But that early start, it can be a bit of a trap, can't it? Especially for overschedulers.
Oh, absolutely. You think, great, I'm getting ahead. But really, you might just be guaranteeing that when unexpected stuff hits later.
You've got nothing left in the tank to handle it.
Precisely. You've lowered your baseline energy before you even walk out the door.
And the outside world does hit Jack pretty much immediately after the cleaning. He goes shopping.
Ah, yes. The shopping trip.
And this is where, for me, the deep dive gets really interesting because the source gives us this one tiny specific detail that throws a wrench in the works.
The store is crowded.
That detail. It's so small, but it's everything. A crowded store. That's the domino.
Why is that so significant? Shopping is just shopping, isn't it?
Well, normally shopping is already a bit of a axe on your brain, right? Finding things, comparing, remembering your list. Okay, yeah. Low-level cognitive load.
But add crowds. Now you've got noise, people bumping into you, weaving through aisles, maybe long lines.
Suddenly, it's not a simple task anymore.
No, it becomes a massive source of cognitive overhead. Your brain is constantly filtering irrelevant stuff, navigating the chaos. It's fighting the environment.
So you're not just spending time or even just mental energy on the task of shopping, you're spending it battling the surroundings.
Exactly right. That friction just eats away at your energy reserves way faster than you'd expect. Exponentially faster sometimes.
It's that decision fatigue idea again, or just overload?
Both, really. You're making micro decisions, constantly move left, wait here, ignore that noise, while trying to stick to your goal. It's draining.
And the result is immediate. The source explicitly notes Jack feels tired already, before Saturday is even half over.
Yep, already in the red zone, just from the cleaning, followed by that unexpected friction at the store. And that, I think, is a really crucial takeaway for you listening. Starting tired means any little snag, a delay, a crowd, a disagreement can completely derail you later.
Oh.
Jack didn't just spend time at the store. He hemorrhaged energy.
Which leads us right into the next big energy drain, phase 3, the evening commitments. He's already running on fumes.
After the cleaning sprint and the shopping ordeal, yeah.
But he's still got that social obligation lined up.
He attends a birthday party. The source gives us the phrase, "I went to a party."
Okay, so physical exhaustion meets social demand.
Exactly. And a party isn't passive rest, is it? It requires active effort. You've got to be on.
Smiling, making conversation, remembering names, showing interest. It's a performance in a way.
It really is. It demands sustained mental and emotional output.
And he pushes through, probably thinking, well, I've come this far, done so much already.
That's sunk cost fallacy, yeah. Can't back out now. Got to see it through.
But it's just digging the energy hole deeper.
Oh, absolutely. It's a guaranteed recipe for burnout because your social battery is different from your physical one.
Right.
If you're physically tired, maybe reading a book quietly is restful. But forcing yourself to be sociable when you're physically drained, that pulls on your deepest reserves. Willpower, emotional control.
Yeah, I think anyone who leans even slightly introverted would look at Jack's Saturday and just know that party was a bad idea after the morning he had.
Definitely. But even for an extrovert, someone who genuinely gets energy from social interaction.
Yeah, her body is still screaming for rest after the cleaning and that stressful shopping trip.
Precisely. The social interaction might top up their emotional energy, maybe. But the physical debt from the morning, the cognitive drain from the crowds, that bill hasn't been paid.
So he's trying to pay off one type of debt by going deeper into another type.
You got it.
Yeah.
He's basically ensured there's zero chance for any real recovery. Jack's energy account went into massive overdraft sometime Saturday evening.
And the consequences of that unsustainable Saturday are immediate. The bill comes due Sunday morning, phase 4, the collapse.
It had to happen, really. His plan for Sunday was still pretty ambitious, wasn't it?
Yeah, he planned to go hiking, which, again, needs prep, travel, physical effort.
Significant effort required.
But reality bites hard. His brain might say hike, but his body just says nope.
Total system shutdown. The source says he can't get up, stays in bed. The ultimate surrender.
It's like his body just pulled the emergency brake because his mind wouldn't.
That's a great way to put it. It's the inevitable result. When you refuse to actually schedule rest, treat it as non-negotiable. The body will eventually mandate it.
So the hike is off. He resigns himself, says maybe next weekend. That classic postponement.
It's the eternal next weekend.
But importantly, there's a realization in this collapse, isn't there? The aha moment.
Yes, thankfully. It's not just about the failure. He learned something crucial.
What's the big takeaway for Jack?
The source tells us. He realizes that rest is important too. We even get the phrase, I need to rest.
Ah, that's the key.
That's the pivot. He shifts from thinking only about managing time to understanding he needs to manage energy.
Recognizing that a productive weekend actually has to include real recovery time. It's not just the absence of activity.
Exactly. His initial list failed, not because the tasks were impossible in isolation, but because rest was treated as optional, expendable, the first thing to go when pressure hit.
Like that crowded store just accelerated the process, forcing the cancellation down the line.
Right. The lesson being, your plan needs buffer time.
Yeah.
And that buffer is recovery. It needs to be scheduled with the same importance as clean the house.
Jack learned that busy doesn't equal good if the end result is just exhaustion and things left undone anyway.
That realization, rest is important, is step one to breaking that cycle. Budget for energy, not just time.
Absolutely crucial. But let's look at his very final thought again, maybe next weekend for the hike.
Ah, yes. The plan is immediately rescheduled.
This brings us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. Because there's something interesting going on there, behaviorally speaking.
There really is. Jack might be falling into what's known as the planning fallacy.
Explain that.
Well, it's our tendency to be overly optimistic about future plans. We underestimate how long things will take or how much energy they'll require, even if we failed at the exact same task before.
So Jack knows he crashed this weekend because he ran out of energy.
But he assumes that next weekend, future Jack will magically have enough energy for that hike, just because present Jack has now stated, I need to rest.
So the question for you listening is this. Is just saying, maybe next weekend, a guarantee that the cycle repeats? Is he just setting himself up for burnout again?
Or is finally realizing rest is important? The genuine first step, the catalyst for actual change in how he plans.
It hinges on whether he acts on that realization.
Exactly. Knowing you need rest is one thing. Actively scheduling it, protecting that time, budgeting energy throughout the entire week leading up to the weekend. That's different.
If he doesn't build recovery into his week, he could easily start next Saturday already depleted.
And we're right back to the same Sunday collapse. He needs to budget energy consistently, not just hope Sunday provides a magic reset.
So we encourage you to think about that. When you make your own long list, how are you budgeting for energy, not just time? Are you scheduling the recovery needed to handle life's inevitable crowded stores?
Maybe even budget some time just for, staring out the window. Activation energy for doing nothing. It might be more productive than you think.
Good thought. Until next time. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes source material, sometimes really simple stuff, and we dig in to find the knowledge you actually need. And today, our source is, well, it seems incredibly basic on the surface. It's an excerpt from an easy English lesson.
Right. The kind designed to teach vocabulary using everyday situations.
Exactly. This one features a character, Sarah, and it's all about her very first time taking a flight. So our mission isn't just, vocabulary drills. We're looking at this little story, this travel microdrama, and asking what it tells us about, well, the real experience.
The sociology of it almost. What are the hidden lessons about anxiety, rules, communication, all baked into this simple script?
Precisely. Okay, let's unpack this. It starts right away setting a mood. Sarah's at the airport. She feels a little nervous, and yep, it explicitly says first flight.
Instant vulnerability. It immediately frames the airport not just as a place, but as a high-stakes system you're entering for the first time.
And the source material, even though it's for language learning, it taps into something real, doesn't it? That overwhelming feeling.
Oh, absolutely. Airports are built for flow, for efficiency, maybe not so much for human comfort, especially if you're new to it. It can feel like this huge, confusing machine.
Yeah, like a bureaucracy that speaks its own language, even if it's technically English.
Exactly. And look at the first thing Sarah does. According to the script, it's quite revealing.
Right. She checks her passport and ticket again and again. It's almost comical, but we all do versions of that, don't we? Even with apps and digital boarding passes.
We do. And your question earlier was great. Is it just panic, or is the system itself teaching us this?
So what do you think?
Well, I think it's both. It's definitely a ritual. The system demands these checks at various points, right? Security, gate, boarding.
True, you have to present them over and over.
But for the anxious mind, especially a first-timer like Sarah, it becomes something more. It's a coping mechanism.
How so?
Think about it. In that huge, noisy space, you feel like you have almost zero control. The signs tell you where to go. The security lines dictate your pace.
You're just swept along.
Right. But your passport, your ticket, those are yours. They prove who you are and that you have a right, sort of, to be there. Checking them constantly is like touching base.
Like a little anchor in the chaos.
Exactly. It's a way to reduce the mental load. You're confirming, okay, chaos everywhere else, but this part, I am me, I have the permission slip. It's a small act of control.
That makes a lot of sense. So she gets past that initial, do I have my papers, anxiety.
Momentarily, yes.
And immediately the focus shifts. The script gives us her internal thought, where is my gate?
And boom, that's the next big hurdle, isn't it? Identity confirmed, now it's about location, certainty.
Once you're through the main checks, the airport kind of splinters. Suddenly there are dozens of paths.
That fragmentation is where the real navigational anxiety kicks in. The fear isn't just being confused, it's the consequence missing the flight. That's the ultimate failure in this system.
And interestingly, the script doesn't have Sarah whip out her phone or stare harder at a screen to solve this.
No, it doesn't. The solution comes from another person, a kind man.
Which suggests something about human interaction, maybe, especially when you're stressed.
I think it does. It models a very quick, very efficient social transaction. Look how it goes. He starts with empathy. Are you okay?
Basic kindness.
But then, notice how fast it moves to the necessary data. He doesn't linger on the feelings. He asks, what's your gate number?
Straight to the point, because that's what actually matters in that moment.
Right. In that environment, there's only a tiny window for, let's say, soft skills. The system demands the key information. Logistics trump feelings for a moment.
And once Sarah gives that piece of data, gate B12, suddenly the problem has a potential solution.
Exactly. It confirms that in these high-pressure systems, knowing that single crucial piece of information is everything. It's the key that unlocks the next step.
It's fascinating how this simple English lesson actually distills the core airport protocol.
It really does. And those 5 practice phrases they include. We should probably look at those more closely. They're not just random sentences.
Okay, yeah. Let's treat them like the essential toolkit. What are they again?
Well, the first one we've already hit on. Where is my gate?
Right. Pure navigation, finding your place in the system.
Then you've got the interaction at a checkpoint.
Can
I see your passport, please?
The official request? Or command, maybe?
It functions more like a command, doesn't it? It's polite, but it's not optional. It highlights the power dynamic.
Yeah, you don't argue, you just comply. Hand it over.
Exactly. It's the system asserting its authority, And the expected response leads to the third phrase.
Which is, here is my ticket.
Right. So passport for identity, ticket for what? Proof of purchase. Right to be there.
Yeah, proof of the transaction. It says, I'm not just a person, I'm a paying customer who belongs on this specific flight. It validates your presence economically.
Good point. Identity and transaction confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay, so phrase number 4 happens later, probably on the plane itself.
Ah, this is my seat. Finding your little spot.
And think about how important that is. After navigating the massive airport, the security, the gate, it all comes down to finding this tiny designated territory.
Your 3 feet of personal space for the next few hours.
Claiming that seat is like the final confirmation. I made it. I'm in the right place. It's the final localized placement, you could say.
The moment you can finally maybe relax a tiny bit. Just before the safety briefing, yeah.
Which leads perfectly into the last phrase, the one that wraps up Sarah's emotional journey in the script.
I'm ready for my flight.
Yes. And that's not just logistical readiness, is it? It's psychological.
How do you mean?
Well, saying I'm ready implies acceptance.
Yeah.
You've navigated the system, you've found your spot, you've maybe processed some of that anxiety. You're acknowledging, okay, I'm giving up control now to the plane, to the crew.
Right. It's the mental green light. Proceed.
Precisely. It's the emotional and logistical resolution. The 5 phrases basically map the entire journey from uncertainty to acceptance.
It's quite elegant, actually, reducing this complex thing down to 5 key exchanges.
It really is. But then the story adds another layer, doesn't it? After the logistics are sorted with a gate number.
Right. The kind man. He doesn't just point the way. He says, come with me. I'm going to the same date.
That offer of companionship, that's huge.
It shifts from just information to support.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's the social lubricant. It acknowledges the shared experience. You're not just 2 individuals following signs. You're now briefly a team navigating together.
And the script even tells us what they talk about as they walk.
Yes. Travel and food, which seems almost trivially small talk, but maybe it's not.
Why those 2 topics? You mentioned it earlier. Are they just safe? Neutral?
They are safe, which is important. No complex debates needed, but I think it's deeper, like you suggested.
Okay.
Think about what connects almost all humans. Movement, that's travel. We're all going somewhere or have been somewhere or dream of going somewhere. It establishes instant common ground. You're both travelers in that moment.
Okay, I see that. And food.
Sustenance, another universal. But also, it's sensory. It's usually pleasant to talk about. It involves memory and simple descriptions.
Right. Easy vocabulary, maybe, especially if you're learning English, like the point of the original lesson.
Exactly. If your brain is already overloaded with the stress of navigating, you can't handle complex conversation. Travel and food allow for simple, low-stakes language practice. Did you visit Rome? Oh, the pizza was amazing. It's manageable.
So the small talk isn't just filler. It's actually functional.
It's functional and therapeutic. It engages Sarah's brain in something non-threatening, non-logistical. It takes her mind off the anxiety loop for a bit. It builds a tiny human connection.
And the result is clear in the script. She gets to the gate.
And the transformation is complete. She thinks, this is not so scary after all. She feels happy and calm now.
The fear has diffused.
Because of 2 things, really. Successful navigation, finding the gate, and that small dose of human connection and shared experience. Familiarity, even temporary, combats fear.
It really drives home the lesson, both the language one and the sort of life one.
And the meta lesson too, right? The source itself tells the learner to listen again to learn faster. It underlines that repetition, simplicity, linking language to a real, relatable situation. That's how you make things stick, especially under pressure.
Okay, so if we recap this deep dive, we took a very simple language lesson about a first-time flyer.
Sarah at the airport.
Right. And we found it actually reveals a lot about navigating any high-stress system. You need to, 1, lock down your key data points, passport, ticket, gate number in this case.
You can't proceed without those.
2, you need a minimal, effective communication protocol. Those 5 core phrases are basically it. Simple, direct language for essential functions.
Get the job done language.
And 3, maybe the overlooked part, finding those small human connections, even just brief small talk, can genuinely reduce the stress and make the whole thing manageable.
Absolutely. So what does it all really mean? I think the biggest takeaway is the power of that simplicity. The script works because it's simple.
It doesn't try to explain the whole airport system.
No. It boils down a massively complex Operation International Air Travel into a handful of repeatable steps and phrases. It tells us that mastery often isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing the few things that matter most and being able to execute them cleanly, especially when you're anxious or overwhelmed.
Keep it simple, basically.
Keep it simple. Focus on the essentials. Applied knowledge is powerful, especially when it's distilled like that.
So since Sarah ends up feeling ready for my flight, feeling calm and prepared, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
What are you thinking?
Well, here's a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. We just saw how navigating something as daunting as a first flight essentially boiled down to mastering 5 phrases and finding one helpful person.
The core essentials.
So think about other big challenges in life that feel overwhelming. Could they too be made less scary, more navigable, if we stopped trying to understand the whole massive system and instead focused on identifying and mastering their 5 key phrases, their non-negotiable communication points?
It always amazes me how a cafe can feel both busy and peaceful at the same time. This is exactly where we find Mark today, right? He walks in, ready for a calm morning among the gentle clatter of cups.
The whole scene makes me wish I was there, honestly. I love how Mark goes right up to the counter, smiling. It sets such a warm tone, and it's a perfect example for anyone learning these kinds of everyday conversations.
When Mark says, "Can I have a coffee, please?" I always think how that one simple phrase can open up a whole conversation. Even if you're a bit nervous, it works just like magic.
What I like about it is how natural it feels. You don't have to say anything complicated the barista understands right away, and the chat just flows. Plus, you get the coffee you want, which is always the goal.
That actually reminds me, I still remember the first time I ordered coffee in English. My voice was shaking, but just saying, "Can I have a coffee, please?" made me feel so accomplished afterwards.
It's such a relatable feeling. I've had friends who felt the same way after practicing those phrases a few times. They suddenly felt way more confident ordering for themselves. The boost is real.
Let's break it down a bit for our listeners. We heard Mark use, "Can I have a coffee, please?" And the barista asked, "Would you like milk or sugar?" Both super helpful.
Plus, don't forget little responses like, "Just milk, please," or "No sugar, thank you." Being polite really helps. Using words like please and thank you shows friendliness, and people always appreciate it.
You know, using these phrases isn't just about coffee. I love how they work everywhere. Cafes, restaurants, even at a food truck. Being able to say, "Here you go," or "You're welcome," makes every interaction a little smoother.
I totally agree. And the best part is, even if you make a tiny mistake, most people are just happy you tried. Like that time I helped a friend in New York. She was nervous, but when she finally ordered, the barista smiled right back at her. It was such a nice moment.
Stories like that remind me why practicing is so important. Every time you repeat these little sentences at home, it gets easier. And who knows, your next coffee order might be the start of a brand new conversation.
Exactly, and the more you do it, the more natural it feels. So don't be shy. Everyone try out those phrases next time you're out. You might just surprise yourself.